We are responsible
to not pass on the suffering of aging
to the next generation.
As an individual, it can seem like an impossible task.
But together,
pero juntos,
一起
ياخد ensemble.
we can wake up this world to a future without aging.
the Coalition for Radical Life Extension. With your help, we've done a lot.
but we can do a lot more.
And so much more is needed
To make super longevity
A
reality
in our
time.
time.
Hello, everybody. Greetings. Everybody out there in the kingdom of longevity and immortality. We got people with us from all over the world. Special shout out to Vitalia. Great to see you guys on with us.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, we're excited to be with you today. My name is Joe Bardin. I'm the communications director for the Coalition for Radical Life Extension. We're the not-for-profit organization that puts on RAADfest, the largest super longevity event in the world. That's cutting-edge information, science, and inspiration for a general audience. And we're excited to have you guys on with us. We're excited for our excellent panel tonight. And I want to let you know that we are doing a special 48-hour discount for you on RAADfest. And there it is.
There it is.
Yep. So take advantage of this. Do something good for yourself. Be at RAADfest. It's September 5th through the 8th in Anaheim, California. And do something good for us by registering early so we can use that to help fund growing this event and growing everything we do. So take advantage of that. We're going to send you out an email on that right after this webinar. So join us for that. We got a lot to talk about today. So I'm going to get right into it and introduce the Executive Director of the Coalition for Radical Life Extension, James Strole.
All right. Thank you very much. So happy to see everybody I can see right now. And thank you all for being online with us. I think this is going to be an exciting night together. I appreciate you taking the time and I'm very humbled by your presence here. I feel blessed by being with you tonight. It's such a powerful subject we're talking about, and it has everything to do with the vitality and strength of our flesh, of our bodies, and where we're going to go with that. I just told Joe while this trailer for RAADfest was playing, I got goosebumps. I got butterflies in my stomach. I thought, wow, seeing so many of you that was there, and I see a lot of you are online here tonight. Thank you for being there. But it just brought back all those memories of the last RAADfest, which was so great, and this next one's even going to be better. So take advantage of that offer. I want to say that, look, for me, I feel, starting this conversation some, that we are in the middle of a radical life extension revolution. And I use the middle because we don't really have at least readily available a age reversal protocol or something that actually stop aging yet. That it's on its way. Okay, I feel there's many we have doctors and scientists that are working on a lot of these great protocols. I know Aubrey will speak to that tonight some maybe, but we are in the middle here but what's important to get is there are a lot of protocols and innovations that we can use to stay alive now. And thinking about that and getting in contact with that, I was actually reading an article recently that there's new data that only 7% of our hereditary health is due to to our inheritance. We have hereditary genes. But, so that makes 93% of it is in charge, we're in charge, okay? That's powerful. That's powerful to know. That means that we have to do what's necessary to stay alive. We can't just, depend upon our genes, and that's kind of a great thing because it does put us in charge, and then we got to do something to make that happen. And that's what RAADfest is about. That's what these events are about. And I want to invite everybody to really join with us and engage with us more to make this happen because we can do it. There's already, I'm excited about many of the protocols are already. Dr. Dian Ginsberg is going to be talking about young plasma exchange tonight. We're going to share a lot of other new protocols and innovations that are coming out. And so there's a lot of great things happening. But point being, though, for me tonight is we need to take charge and really make this happen. Everything we desire to increase the lifespans, to create an unlimited world that we all feel, and to be able to enjoy the abundance of that. That's what's exciting to me. So I want to invite everybody more to get involved on this level because really I was thinking about this more today that we have a community here in Scottsdale called People Unlimited. Then there's another community in Florida called the Church of Perpetual Life. And then there's one in Honduras. These are the three I know in the world right now called Vitalia. And all these communities, though, are being formed because they recognize that's not good enough just to get on the internet and share information with each other. It's great. It's a great avenue. It's fantastic, but it's not enough. This personal contact, getting to know each other personally, getting to become, to value each other, to share information, to want your fellow human being to live and to share information with them and to be boosting them all the time to live in person is very powerful. And then, you come to RAADfest, for example, or you go to Vitalia or Church of Perpetual Life, you meet people there. Hopefully they become meaningful to you. They're not just somebody online. You feel them. You can see their bodies. You can see their flesh and look at them in the eyes. And then a whole new dynamics happens between you. And this is what we experience here at People Unlimited. And I'm sure why these other communities like in Florida and and in Honduras are being created because they also recognize that it's not enough just to have connections online. We need collaboration. We need physical collaboration with each other and inspiration. So that's vital to me, and I think it's vital to, everyone here online tonight, and they recognize that we together we can get this done. It's important that we don't stay isolated from each other on any level or lose heart. Some people, in my past experience or even in the last couple of years, I've seen them kind of lose heart because of, everything happening in COVID, many things, seeing people die, feeling that maybe things weren't moving quite fast enough. Well, hey, I want, we gotta be the fuel behind that fire to get things moving. And really, if we can all stay alive with what we've got now, and like it's been said very clearly by Ray Kurzweil, that, hey, stay alive long enough to live forever. So that's my purpose and goal. And I love being in contact. I mean, I loved RAADfest this last year. I love this contact with all of you here tonight. And I just want to bless you and give you my energy here tonight. And let's give each other our energy tonight. Let's partake in a real, I'll say, festival here tonight of life. Look, we're going to have a debate here. We're going to have a discussion of what this is all about and understand more where we're going in this. but that's really joining together and trying to drop our critical mind, our toxic critical mind, and really join together in creativity and come and help bring about the abundance that we all feel here tonight. So I want to thank you again for being online, and I'm going to turn this back over to Joe. I look forward to seeing you at the next RAADfest, and we're going to have more of these webinars too, by the way, for you to tune into. So tell your friends. This webinar is going to be recorded also, and it's going to go to we have over 10,800 members right now in the coalition. We're going to send this to all of them. So I want you all to invite your friends and relatives to hear it, and let's keep this momentum going. Let's step up the momentum this year, and let's get where we want to get. Thank you.
Super beautiful. Yeah. Fantastic. I'm determined to sit up straight.
There you go, Joe.
Ever since interviewing Brian Johnson at RAADfest on the stage, I think I'm trying to be really aware of that.
Well, you're doing a better job.
All right. Let's get going here. Let's get rolling. First off, we are going to hear from the co-founder of Longevity Escape Velocity Foundation, Aubrey De Grey. Hey, Aubrey, how you doing?
Hey there, I'm very well, thank you. Can you hear me? Am I on?
Yes.
We hear you.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, thanks, Joe and Jim, for having me along, and thanks for putting this this event on. It's like I see that we've got really quite a lot of participants, and I'm sure that's going to increase. So thank you very much for doing that. As you wrote in the show notes, so to speak, this is the third of the biomedical research nonprofits that I have led. I suppose officially I'm a co-founder, but I'm really the founder. I think one thing that you've done particularly wisely for this inaugural session is to bring together the three of us, myself and Dian and Greta, because of course we cover the bases when it comes to what's required here and what the coalition has been so successful in doing over all these years since RAADfest began. Of course, I'm a PhD and Dian's an MD, and that really tells you all you need to know about the different bases that we cover. And Greta has brought all of her enormous skills in the entertainment world and other related things into the advocacy side of things. And of course, the biggest thing that RAADfest and the coalition have done over these years is to bring those things together. To bring the science and the passion to work together rather than to be seen as, in some sense, in some kind of tension. One thing I want to start with, actually, which is something I don't talk about enough, probably, and I was reminded of it by something that Jim said a moment ago, which I want to take issue with. And this is not Jim's fault. This is something that far too many scientists also say, but it's a really dangerous oversimplification. So I want to highlight what it is. What Jim said was that a small amount, 7%, I think he said, of our longevity is determined by our genetics. Therefore, he said, the rest of it is up to us. And that's not correct. The number, 7%, probably is correct. People used to say more like 20, 25%, but there are reasons to believe now that we've thought about it a bit more and got better data that it's actually a good deal lower. It is a bit complicated. It turns out that if you look not at one's likelihood of reaching, let's say, 80, but instead at one's likelihood of reaching 100, then the heritability is rather larger, which is pretty interesting, and people are still very much investigating that. But that's not what I wanted to complain about. The thing I wanted to complain about was the idea that everything that isn't genetics is up to us. That's not the case. And the reason it's not the case is because, to put it simply, we are not all born at the same biological age. A huge amount happens in utero that we don't have control over, that is essentially random. In fact, in very early embryogenesis, it's really, really random. most of you probably know in the audience what Brownian motion is, something that biologists don't tend to talk about that. It's something that physicists talk about. It's something that was instrumental in the discovery of the atom, things like that. But like, it's absolutely random. And it means that by the time we're born, things have already become different between different people. And that carries on throughout growth. So by the time we become adults, we have very different biological ages, irrespective of lifestyle and our environment. Two very prominent and well-respected gerontologists, Tom Kirkwood and Tuck Finch, wrote a book about all of this 20-odd years ago. It was called Chance, Development, and Aging. So it was pointing out that there are kind of three things that happen. And actually, I'm not sure it was a particularly good name, but they made a big deal about this. And it's been ridiculously swept under the carpet ever since. So I think it's very important to recognize that the amount that we actually can do in terms of influencing our trajectory of biological age is a lot less than one might infer from the heritability number that Jim mentioned earlier. Now, exactly how much less is still up for debate, but in the laboratory, people have done experiments trying to ask this question, and they've come up with an extremely scary result, which is that basically it's almost all this randomness. Essentially what you can do in the laboratory, especially with really simple creatures like nematode worms, is you can make them not only genetically identical, but also you can make them environmentally pretty much identical by by growing them in basically liquid culture and stirring the liquid so that they basically get the same thing all the time. And they still have almost as much of a variation in how long they end up living as they do if you don't do any of that. So it's like terrifying. The other reason why, of course, we need to not just rely on what we can do already on lifestyle and environment, is that we are the Coalition for Radical Life Extension. We are not just interested in getting people who would otherwise live to 80 to live to 110. We're interested in fixing this aging thing completely. And, that takes a lot of work. And there's a lot that we can't yet do on that. So that's why you need the PhDs here as well as the MDs in this community. So let me just spend a couple of minutes describing in general terms what I'm doing, what my group are doing at LEV Foundation. We are essentially moving on we're moving on to the second of the two stages of implementing sense. Sense, of course, strategies for engineered negligible senescence, the concept that I brought forward in the year 2000 originally, at the meeting at which the term Manhattan Beach Project was first coined. Of course, the meeting that Greta co-chaired grew out of that, but the person who deserves the credit for originally coining that term is a guy named George Roth, who was a very, very prominent researcher at the NIH. He was the first first leader of the NIH's project to look at calorie restriction in monkeys. And since this particular meeting, this two-day meeting happened in Manhattan Beach, he called it the Manhattan Beach Project. Anyway, so yeah, that was where the whole idea came from. But since this idea of classifying the damage that constitutes aging into a number of categories and identifying ways to repair that damage, this is a divide and conquer strategy by its definition. And that means that implementing it consists of two stages. One stage is to figure out ways to actually do the damage repair for each of the types of damage. And that's what I was essentially entirely focused on at my previous foundation, Sense Research Foundation. But the second stage is to take things that already somewhat work individually in mice and stick them together in the same mice at the same time. And there you're going to identify a whole bunch of new stuff like, unanticipated interactions and so on. So that's what we're mostly focused on at LEV Foundation. We have a huge experiment going on right now, which started about a year and a bit, 13 months ago now, I guess, It involves 1,000 mice. It involves 4 different interventions. 4 is not very many. So, we'll want to do a lot more experiments exactly like this. They're expensive. That's one of the reasons why people haven't done them before. This experiment is costing us $3.5 million. But I strongly believe it's the best bang for the buck in terms of information learned per dollar spent of any experiment that's going on in the whole of the biology of aging right now. So that's why we're doing it. But there's a huge amount more to do. So, we're going to carry on needing PhDs and MDs for a long time to come. So I think I'll stop there and let the other two say their bit.
Okay.
Super.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aubrey. Okay, our next speaker is a longtime longevity activist, and she was part of organizing the Manhattan Beach Project and many other things, and we've had her at RAADfest consistently, and she always has a line of sight on longevity and what's happening. And we're really glad to have Greta Blackburn with us. Here's Greta.
Hey, thank you, Joe. And thank you, Aubrey. It's 2 takeaways for me from Aubrey. I'm really happy to know that I don't have to feed my nematode worms. And number 2, I'm really happy that I can tell my mental health therapist that 4 interventions is really not that much. Anyway, kidding. So my job is to, because Aubrey, the brain, his brain glows on screen. My role in this community is to I'm the person out roving the world. I'm out seeing what's happening a little bit before the regular world sees it. And Aubrey, I'm going to steal from Aubrey again, because he said he had a bone to pick. And my bone to pick is not with this group, but with the group of people who are just a little too, I'll use the word gullible, because they're the people that if they see a commercial that says, albino goat butt hair will help in a capsule will improve your sex drive, they're all in. They're the ones that if they tell you that that Fisher-Price hair they're wearing is because of a special electrified wide tooth comb, get out your credit cards, but don't snatch that wig. So this is a group that is savvy and aware. And what I'm here to do is just talk briefly. And I got so much intel for you guys, but I'm going to drill it down because I know we're on a time thing. Trends. What are the trends? That's what I do. Zeitgeist. What's out there? What's happening? What's about to emerge? So one of the things, a little factoid, the number 1 reason that people get checked into assisted living when they're older is because they can't get off the toilet by themselves. They have lost the lower body strength and the mobility to just do one basic move, a half rep of a body weight squat. So one of the trends today, and you're seeing it in the podcast, Andrew Huberman and Peter Diamandis, all those guys with the great podcasts, is muscle. So that's a trend. Okay, so muscle is a trend. The mind. Today's Wall Street Journal, there was the headline, there was a story. Old leaders run the world and they're not going anywhere. And the subtitle was, a decade ago, just one of the world's 10 most populous countries had a leader 70 or older. Today, 8 do. So obviously, mind is an important thing, and we know that. I think I have a friend and a colleague on here, the lovely Donna Lalwani from the Amen clinic in New York City, where they specialize in the brain and measurable stuff. And that's another trend. Measurable is what you're doing measurable, because without it being measurable, you can't fix what you can't measure. So a trend is anything that's measurable. Gadgets. We've got the Whoop, we've got the Aura, we've got all that stuff. We've got the MFit, which is the gold standard of all of it. And now it's available for people to get too. So that's an amazing thing. So I want just picking the top stuff here. Senolytics are big. I know that Diane's going to be talking about her plasmapheresis. That's amazing. Senolytics are a big thing. You guys know about that. There's stuff coming down the pike. You might not know that an important senolytic action, and Aubrey will know this phrase, neuronal autophagy, blood flow to the brain. It's like a senolytic to the brain. How do you do that? They're looking at ways to do that. People like the Amen Clinic can measure that kind of thing. Peptides. You guys are getting hit with ads for peptides, peptides. So there are peptides out there. Personally, I went on a program. I went on this GDF11, and my results are, if you go online to gdf11.com and look under biomarkers and drill down, all my stuff, I said, make it public, you know, everything's there. You'll see the benefits I've had from that specific peptide, but peptides are out there like crazy. Collaborations, Jim, you talked about collaborations. There are amazing, I'm going to announce a couple here right now that nobody knows about yet, actually. There's a collaboration going on between the Amen Clinic, the Daniel Amen clinics, and Dr. Jinsheng Shi, and that is about actually mitigating the symptoms of autism in young adults. So this is a whole new thing, like the overlay of the symptoms of autism and the benefits from NAD are pretty astonishing, and they're going to do a study that's going to prove that. There's some studies about TPE with actually Dr. Paul Savage is leading a program in that and adding some good stuff back into the TPE protocol. So I'm going to say just, and I'm trying to keep this short. I got so much. Okay, I'm going to give you guys one that I think you're going to like. These are biomarkers that mean you are, I call them YAS. You are screwed. You need to look at these. These are the markers that when you see these, just think to yourself, I'm screwed. I also call it YAF privately, and you can guess what that means. So I'm going to run down what those are. If your naive T cells are below 20, YAS. If your REM sleep is below 10, if your HRV is below 10, if your EGFR, which is a kidney marker, is below 30, if you're at the bottom 30th percentile of the CNS vital signs, you're not going to find your way home. If you wake up in the morning and you grab a vodka with your bagel, YAF, sorry. So these are things that these are biomarkers that you want to steer clear of. Collaborations, biomarkers, measurability, so that you can act upon them. These are the trends. This is what you want to be looking for. And you also want to watch the marketing techniques. You don't want to buy that goat butt hair capsule that promises to build your sex drive, because it probably won't work.
Well said, well said.
Okay, that really popped the bubble there. That really burst the bubble there on the goat hair goat hair. But yeah, thank you, Greta. Yeah, so what we're talking about here are ways to make ourselves sharper and to strengthen the platform on which we want to build radical life extension. So we want to do everything we can.
That's right.
Right. We want to take on that challenge.
Yeah.
And someone who is doing some very specific work that is available now, and also has a lot of really useful information on a lot of levels, is Dr. Dian Ginsberg, who's board certified OBGYN and anti-aging. Here's Dian Ginsberg.
All right.
Okay, so I am an MD. My stuff is pretty practical. So let me tell you a little bit in my 10 minutes about what I found over time and what we're seeing just on the front tomorrow that you can do to really help. And I want to make sure that we keep stable what we can do while you think about what's possible down the road. So being an OB-GYN for 35 years, I've operated a lot, and I started to learn about telomeres maybe about 15 years ago. So SpectraCell is in Houston. I got to know the people at SpectraCell, and this goes back to what Aubrey said. So I thought it would be fascinating to know what the telomeres looked like on a baby, depending upon the relationship that the mom and dad had. So the couples that were fighting more, I did 5 patients. So SpectraCell donated 5 kits. So the couples that fought more, the kid had telomeres at like 88% when it was born, whereas the couples that were calmer in their visit had 100%. Like there is a component of where mom is determining kind of where the baby starts. So there's definitely a component there. However, you can't do anything about that, right? You are where you are. So what you want to do is kind of lower your cost of doing business, and you do the best you can, right? To me, life is physics. and you do the best you can, but you're trying to get through high school and trying to get through college and trying to get through life. So we start really to think about longevity. I think I see it a lot, especially my female patients in the mid 40s. The number one thing I think that everybody needs to be very aware of is female longevity with hormone replacement. So back in 2002, the Women's Health Initiative destroyed women. They said, don't take hormones. And if you read Morgan Levine's study in her book and her study, it'll tell you that hormone replacement, that women that did not take hormones versus women that didn't take hormones aged faster. So they did epigenetic testing on them and they found they aged faster. So I encourage both men and women to make sure that when you get into that 40s and 50s and you start to lose brain ovary or brain testes connection, that you keep your testosterone and your estrogen realistic. No, as a woman, don't use a pellet and drive your hormone, your testosterone to 250. Get yourself physiologic, stay in that premenopausal range, and as a man, stay healthy. Number two, and we talked about this when I was in Arizona, keep an eye on your microbiome. So what you're doing is you're stabilizing your cost of doing business. You are lowering your metabolic requirements, right? That's what calorie restriction, that's what all this other stuff does. It just tries to slow your cost of doing business. The problem you're going to have is no matter how hard you try to do that, or no matter how many plasma exchanges you do, your ball's going to keep rolling downhill. So whether you do a TPE, a total plasma exchange that you pay somebody for, or you go and donate plasma to the Red Cross or to BioLife or whoever who will take your plasma for free once or twice a week, what you're doing is, yes, you're cleaning the garbage out. So you're getting almost a hormesis reaction. You clean out the garbage. If you've got your microbiome in line and you've got your hormones where they need to be, and your food is where it needs to be, and your hormones are where they need to be, so your brain's where it needs to be, so your sleep is where it needs to be, you're going to find that your hormesis reaction will make you healthier. So that will keep you healthy. The problem you're going to run into is that you are still walking down the hill. And that's where, to me, probably the best thing, or one of the best things we have out there, and I don't know how many people listen to this. I heard Tony Weiss-Correa 2 days ago. He did Young Mice, Old Brains. He did a talk on it. He did a genomic webinar on it. And basically they took young plasma and they put it in the mice and they killed the mice. And then they looked at all the proteins and they looked at the brain levels and they found that the brain got better, the body got better. And to me, that's where young plasma comes from. It's the optimal state of being between 18 and 25. That is where your optimal state of being is. You haven't started the roll down. The physics of your body is optimized. The metabolic proteins are where they need to be. And when you put that in 2 or 3 liters into an aging person, you see significant improvement because you lower, again, the cost of doing business, and things that your body can't do anymore, it's not required to. Now, I agree with Greta. The problem that we have is, what's the optimal testing? I am part of the Rejuvenation Olympics. I'm actually 4th. I'm in front of Brian Johnson in the Rejuvenation Olympics. So, and I always laugh because I'm an OB-GYN and I'm a marathon runner and I'm an Ironman and all those things that everybody says is going to be a problem. But, you know, is the balance my genetics and where I come from, and that part then balances with the running, which created an optimal cost of doing business. Again, no matter what it is, you're still going to wind your way down. So adding the young plasma factors on top are what is significant. We are seeing dramatic improvements there. The clinical improvements, we're looking at focus and energy and grip strength. And my dad has AFib, heart failure. Those markers turned around. We had somebody else with terrible heart failure. His markers turned around. We have a big Parkinson's study where the Parkinson's patients got better, which, when you listen to the rat studies, kind of makes sense, right? People go, humans aren't rats. They're pretty close. You have something that's broken, you hang the young factors in, and you get better. So probably the biggest issue where we are with that is, I don't know that methylation epigenetics is going to reflect optimally as much as blood proteomics. So where we are now in the studies that we're doing is clinical observations, how people are doing, you know, standing on one foot and sitting, getting up off the floor without touching the ground. But it looks like the proteomic clock might be a better option than a methylation clock, because the methylation clock is so variable that you can see a proteomic change when you're 30 and a proteomic change when you're 60, and then a big proteomic change when you're 70. So if you take young proteins and you flow them through an old body, the literature is all over the fact that your system will rise to the occasion, the same way they've done literature that has shown that when you have kids that have leukemia and you give them bone marrow support from older people, they actually age, their biological age is older. So it's really not plasma exchange. I think that of course is going to help you, but it's really about getting your hormones where they need them to be, get your microbiome where it needs to be, and using young plasma infusions to support the system, because that's going to help, right? If you take your car and you replace the battery and then you replace the exhaust pipe, what you'll do is you'll be able to keep the system running longer as we discover more.
Super.
Wow, really good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You brought that
great
to
information.
You brought that to a dramatic moment there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my 10 minutes was up.
Boom, boom. You nailed it.
Boom.
You nailed it. That's the thing. So just to let everybody know, the coalition is supporting this young plasma study that is happening now, which is a way for you to experience the benefits of young plasma and for the community to gain data on validating this. My understanding is you can find out more about this in the email we're going to send you. So we're going to send you information, and it'll with a link to the young plasma study, and you can learn all about it. Right now, you have to go to Texas to get young plasma because of state law, which makes it available there and not anywhere else right now. But could be worth the trip, actually.
Well, you can't ship it across state lines. The FDA, we're fighting the FDA, but the FDA will let you ship it across state lines for an emergency C-section, but they won't let you ship it across state lines to treat.
Right.
For health, unfortunately, right? Just
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Well, we can change that soon.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Yeah. Good.
Right. Which is the whole public policy side of this conversation,
right.
which needs to advance, and we need to be able to demonstrate that there is political equity in supporting longevity, and we need that march on Washington, Jim.
That's right.
Jim's been starting to talk about a march on Washington. I'm just warning you, because the thing Jim talks about tend to happen. So I'm just warning you right now that there's conversation about a march on Washington.
Right on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, like Martin Luther King did, but it's all for radical life extension.
Yeah.
So I think you guys would all show up.
So yeah, good to hear from everybody. Thank you. And we're going to get into discussion here. There's a question. I know we're making progress, because we used to get the question, like, if you did one thing, what was the one thing you would do for longevity? And of course, there is no one thing. But now we're progressed, and there's a question, what are the three things you would do for longevity? And the truth is, honestly, there is not three things. I mean, three supplements or three protocols. I mean, it's just so much bigger than that.
That's right.
Right? So we got to get our head off of this reductionist way of thinking about our lives, about ourselves, and open up. But on that note, let's talk a little bit about. We just heard about young plasma. Let's talk a little bit about what is available now and where people are seeing efficacy. Who wants to join in on that?
Well, let me start, since I am the PhD here and therefore the person who's not supposed to really be specialized in this, by kind of slightly blurring the edges of the question by talking about what's not quite available now, but is in clinical trial.
Okay.
The reason I want to do that is because, clinical trials means, treatment of people, not just treatment of mice, right? And the reason I want to do that is because there are some things that are working their way pretty rapidly through clinical trials that are very much of the sort that I've been interested in all these years. There's very much damage repair and rejuvenation rather than just slowing aging down. Perhaps some of the most important ones are in the area that would narrowly be called regenerative medicine, in other words, stem cell therapies and tissue engineering, especially stem cell therapies. Historically, the main applications for stem cell therapies, as with pretty much all innovative medicine, has been for orphan diseases, for things that typically are early onset, congenital things, that it's easier to get through the regulatory process. But these things are now, to some extent, moving into the realm that we're focused on, the conditions of late life. I want to highlight especially one really important one, which is Parkinson's disease, which is perhaps the most direct, the simplest aspect of aging to be treated with stem cells, because it arises from the loss of a particular type of brain cell, a particular type of neuron, in a very small area of the brain. And what has happened now is that stem cell therapy to replace those cells that are lost during life and are lost a little bit faster in people who eventually get Parkinson's disease, that is something that's now been going on in clinical trials in Japan for a year or two, and it's now starting up with clinical trials in the US as well. It's extremely exciting. This is something that people have dreamt of for decades. And indeed, it was tried about 30 years ago, way before we knew much about how to manipulate stem cells in the laboratory before injecting them. It wasn't very successful then, but people are really excited now. And I believe that if things go according to how it looks like they're going to go, that could be actually, you know, ready for prime time and being prescribed to people within as little as a couple of years from now. So we're talking about real regenerative medicine being used against a condition of late life and an aspect of aging, you know, with on people really in the near future.
Yeah.
Great.
Can I address that? Can I address that? Can I address that briefly? So number one, our Parkinson's study was plasma. Plasma worked. Number two, stem cells. There's a paper out there that says that they grew fat stem cells in young plasma versus old people's plasma. And when they put it in young plasma, the stem cells were a lot more effective. So even if you're going to use stem cells, which is old news, it's going to grow better in young plasma. Number three, Parkinson's comes right from substantia nigra problem, and there's a link to the gut. So the theory, a lot of the theory is that the gut brain problem creates free radicals. And it happens there because it's dark, right? That's why they call it nigra. So the melanocortin that's in there contains a lot of antioxidants. So the theory is that we're picking up the garbage that these people who have a bad gut, too much gluten, too much dairy, not enough probiotics, that's why those studies have shown improvement and have beaten up the central nervous system. Now the brain can't clean it out. If you follow Colin Ewald's studies where he talks about the extracellular matrix, he'll tell you that that's part of what's beat up also. So, you know, plasma is approved. I've hung more plasma than anybody can imagine. Why I'm allowed as an MD to turn around and say, you have Parkinson's, I think this is going to work. I can give you an approved biologic just the same way that I can give you erythromycin or ivermectin for COVID. So we don't have to wait for those studies. We can treat people now as physicians, and we need to be allowed to do that.
Yeah, I agree completely with everything Diane just said. I just want to add one thing, though, that perhaps explains why it sounded like Diane and I were saying different things, which is the magnitude of the effect. 30 years ago, when people first tried injecting stem cells into the substantia nigra, or to be more precise, into the putamen of people's brains with Parkinson's disease, it nearly always didn't work at all because they couldn't get the right stem cells. But on the rare occasions where they got lucky and were able to inject the right stem cells, the magnitude of the effect was just far more than anything else that we can do today, even all the things that Diane very correctly just mentioned. Literally, you took people who were in, you know, substantial bad symptoms and gave them one injection of these stem cells. A year later, they were just taken off L-DOPA completely because they had no symptoms at all, and they stayed completely symptom-free without any other treatment for like 10 or 15 years. That's like unbelievable. And in fact, there was a retrospective on the first responder, the first positive responder in that trial, that was written a few years ago on the 25th anniversary of the treatment of that one person. So Diane, I'll send you that paper. You'll be very interested in it. But this is the real potential of, direct regenerative medicine, let's call it. I completely agree with you, Diane, that things that we can do today are a great deal better than nothing, but the best is yet to come.
Yeah, we like that. The best is yet to come. So there's a question about Yamanaka factors, and I know Bill Falloon is going to speak about that extensively at RAADfest. He's doing a lot of work around Yamanaka factors, and so register for RAADfest is my answer to that question. But what else is going on?
Well, also, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, not only he would be in this webinar possibly, but there's a lot of research being done right now that's going to be unfolded by then that isn't very, very, very available. Now, maybe Aubrey knows somewhat about it. I don't know, but Bill has been working on a lot of the project, so it's all in motion right now. So
that's right.
He didn't want to reveal something that wasn't really complete yet in these studies. So
that's right. Yeah. What do you got, Greta?
Well, how'd you know? You're like
body language.
Yeah, I guess I've got that. I got something to say. Look. So I'm just wondering, because Diane and Aubrey are so versed in this stuff. The brain power is huge. I'm just wondering if I can go rogue and pull somebody in out of our audience. We have, we're talking about Parkinson's, and I have some friends right now who are dealing with that. And I think probably everybody on here either knows somebody or knows somebody who knows somebody. There's stuff you can do, the stuff that's coming down the pike, amazing. We love that. But what can we do right now today, other than the stuff that Diane does? And we have the head of the Amen Clinic in New York on here, Donna Lalwani. I would love to hear what she has to say about what they're doing today, because I think sometimes people get frustrated hearing all this stuff that's coming down the pike. It's a lot of science. Can we do that? Are we allowed to do that? Can I go rogue?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
Can you, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm going rogue. Donna,
Thanks
are
so
you
much,
there?
Greta. Yes, I am. Thank you for this rich conversation about longevity. We really think this is about a brain health revolution. And I heard that word coming in here, that we're so charged about optimizing health and wellness and living healthy and well. And if we can get an earlier head start on other areas of preventive medicine, we do that, and we see that every single day. And we actually do a lot of functional brain spectrum imaging to optimize brain health and wellness. So we take an integrative approach to neuroscience, and I think there's so many areas of alignment to living healthy, well, and optimal, not just in the general reference range. So hearing you speak, Dr. Diane, hearing you, Greta, Aubrey, Jim, all of you, I think we're aligned on optimizing our health numbers, getting an earlier start on that, and changing the trajectory for our health and for our loved ones.
So Donna, somebody has a husband who has Parkinson's. What can they expect out of a treatment that you guys would provide there? I'm sure you have testimonials up the yin yang.
There are so many people that come in. Sometimes they've had multiple diagnoses, competing diagnoses, and sometimes they find us because they say that this is the last stop. And so when we think about imaging, it can give us a greater understanding of cerebellar activity, blood flow, perfusion to the brain, other related thalamicortical dysrhythmias. So I have several physicians in our practice across the 11 centers, including in New York, where I live, and I also have several colleagues there that have seen clients with Parkinson's, ALS. So there's usually an evaluation, but ultimately we'll provide more cutting-edge integrative protocols. If there's craniocervical syndrome, we would certainly address that. Sometimes clients do have other related conditions that may benefit perhaps from Atlas orthogonal specialty or other types of protocols in brain-directed supplements. So it really depends. IV therapies, other integrative medicine, balancing hormones. There may be various things to support microbiome and gut health. So that's a really great question, Greta.
And I'm just happy to introduce you to Diane and Aubrey meet the lovely Donna. And thank you so much for jumping in here unexpectedly.
That's cool. We love that. So we love the jumping in. There's a lot more jumping in to be done, like massively. So Jim, what's going on? You're always doing things for your longevity. You're somebody who to me, because you're an immortalist, because you actually think you can do it, you're somebody who does it. In other words, you're somebody who's pretty damn motivated to take on even little tactical things or bigger things. What are you looking at these days?
Well, I've done a lot of different things. I've expressed some of these before, like, I've done exosome injections, stem cells, placenta stem cells, senolytics. I do a regimen, obviously, of everyday different, I'll say longevity exercises, because I don't think it's good to push your body to extremes. I think the longevity exercise is where you can move your body, be able to be very pliable, be able to run. I mean, Diane, for example, I commend you, Diane. She was here in Scottsdale speaking recently. She's
a crazy person.
Every moment she wasn't talking, she was running.
And that's okay.
So when I was out with her, talking with her, I had to run alongside her.
Yeah, you get in shape hanging out with her.
But now I'm getting ready. I signed up for the young blood plasma. I'm excited about that. I'm just learning from Dr. Jeffrey Gladden, a protocol that's right now, these guys are actually traveling around the world doing this particular protocol. It's a filtration of the blood protocol. I can't give you all the details on it right now, but I'm looking at doing that in the next month or two. It actually can filter out any viruses. It can filter out back cancer cells. It can filter out. It can totally cleanse the body, and which we know cleansing and building are two of the most important things. I think you talked about that, Diane, a lot. And so I'm looking at that. But I signed up, like I said, for the blood plasma. I've already bought it. I got to get to Texas here.
You're taking that. Sorry to interrupt you. Now this is bringing it way down, but you're taking nitric oxide. Now, are you feeling anything with that?
Oh yeah, I started that. When Nathan was here, was speaking. Nathan Bernard, is that it?
Nathan Bryan.
Brian, thank you. Yeah, and he was here speaking on nitric oxide. Very impressed, and he was at RAADfest speaking on it.
Yeah.
And but he came into People Unlimited and shared more about it. So I like the whole. He had really good science on it, and he shared a lot with us at People Unlimited and RAADfest. So I started taking that, and for the last couple of months, and I can tell a big difference in that. Just stability wise in my body. So using some of the things, and it's part of what we're sharing. I like to share. I try some of these things. Some things I like, some things I don't. That I do. But I believe that the reward for the most part is much bigger than the risk of taking things that we can kind of venture out to do. I think Greta's that way too. From what I've experienced with Greta, I commend you, Greta, for different things you go out into the world and try. What are some of the things you've done, Greta, that you might want to share?
Well, first, it's funny, and thank you, and I'll share that. But here's one thing I've done and I want to thank you, Joe, for mentioning the posture piece. So we're talking about science, but I'll tell you what, we all want to not only be youthful inside. That's really our big thing. We want to be alive inside, but it doesn't hurt to be aesthetically kind of cool too. So one of the things that people, if you see an old person across the street, how do you know they're old? Most of the time, it's called a youth cue or an aging cue. They're slouched over. I'm a big proponent of erect posture. So if I was going to give a tip right now or what I try, I'm working on my posture, Jim. Because slouching is, I'm sorry, you look goofy. You look like in my case, I'd look like an old broad slouched over. Who's the old broad slouched over? So just to keep it light and fluffy, posture. I've done some plasmapheresis. I went to Puerto Rico. I did it with Dr. Martinez. It was a neat experience. I'll do more of it. I did some at RAADfest last time. I'm a believer in that. In theory, I don't know the science, but I do in theory. It makes sense. I'm excited about some of this new stuff that's coming down the pike with that. I'm going to say I invented telomeres. How about that? I'll just say I invented it. Well, I mean, listen, it was a technology sitting on a back shelf at Geron Corp, and they had said, no, it's too touchy. It may cause we're putting it on a shelf. And I took the investor to them, and it became TA65 in the world of telomeres. I wrote the book, luckily, Liz Blackburn won the Nobel Prize, and the names are confusing, so I'll take credit for it. So I'm on the forefront of trying stuff in guinea pigging, and you know, I'm big on. I'm going to say it. I'm big on NAD. I'm seeing amazing stuff. It's foundational. You got to take it.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. And I'm going to add the airy fairy piece. I'm going to add the yogic piece. I'm going to add that thousands of years ago, the science behind what the yogis were doing correlates. HRV and pranayama, come on, that's science. So be airy fairy, do your red light therapies, although there's science there too. Do your far infrared saunas, huge on that. So those are my things. And I get, Steve, you get me going on this, Jim, and I could go, I got 2 hours on this. I can go for 2 hours.
Now you're going to have to come over to my house and do the infrared sauna with us.
I have one, but I'll do it with you.
So one thing I want to try to articulate this deficiency, like that I think is super, super widespread, which is a deficiency around community. And it's very hard to articulate it because I think most of us are so adapted to where we are and what we've got that it's hard for us to understand that we have this deficiency, and we don't, and it's hard for people to see because they're just everybody's doing the best they can with what they've got.
Yeah.
But so I'm a member of People Unlimited, and I'm a member of the coalition, obviously, and I go to RAADfest. RAADfest is once a year. It's great. It's way better than not going once a year. Everybody should go to something at least once a year.
Exactly.
I mean, at least once a year. But I'm a member of People Unlimited. We meet every week. I mean, to be around people that aren't like counting down. I mean, just the energy of that. Greta calls it airy fairy, but it's physical. Like, people's opinions are physical. You're so affected by other people. You think you're not? Oh my God, we're so affected by other people. We're so affected by what they think of us. Do they think we're old? Do they think we're aging? You know, that alone is a force. That is a force field that is weighing on everybody. I think posture is important because like, it's not just how you look. It's like the structure of your body in relation to gravity. So, you know, but there's a gravity around people. People are like such a gravitational, and they can also be super uplifting. And we need the uplift. Yeah. Right?
Well, on top of that, you know, thank you for saying that. And I think we all have a sense of that when we're at RAADfest or when we come together. But I actually, you know, can say that I've experienced that, and there's a lot of conversations about this, that there's an innate ability in our bodies or innate desire and ability to live forever. I think I've actually called it the immortal lineage. I've labeled it that, and I've talked about that at RAADfest. That's there to be, I'll say, tapped into in our bodies. But what I think, why community is so important in that, is that in community, you ignite that in each other. You need people, and that's the great thing about unlimited lifespans, I think. For the first time, we need each other like we never needed each other before to create this quality of life. And in this, we ignite this immortal lineage in each other. You know, I can speak to myself about it, I can stir myself, but it's nothing like having a communication with somebody else that we ignite this life force in each other. There's a life force in each other that is to be ignited, that I think is a foundation, a tremendous resilient strength for us to be able to walk this great journey of super longevity.
I think we need as individuals, I think scientists need they need that energy of support, like this, what's going on with this pet longevity study, like that it's gotten defunded by the NIA. You know, it's just this feeling. Who's the doctor? Camberlain. Yeah, Matt Camberlain. Matt. Yeah, who's worked his ass off on this and is been so successful, and just to have kind of the chair pulled out. But it's just this, it's this feeling that you're up against this structure. Like, it's like the opposition is structural. It's like, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is way past conspiracy theory. It's like there's a human nature that you're up against that just can't budge, and just won't budge on this. And fucking, excuse me, Aubrey knows this. Aubrey's been fighting these fights for as long as we have, and so to Jim, you talk about like we need like a strength that is paranormal. Like we need staying power that is beyond the norm.
Well, I think that strength is in us, but it needs to be tapped. And just like for me, You know, being on this event with you guys ignites me more. It stirs me. It strengthens me. Okay. The more conversations I get in like this in the world, that's why we have 2 meetings a week at People Unlimited. That's why I tune into anything I can tune into of that, where we can have this type of conversation. Energizes me and strengthens me.
Right.
And I think that's the kind of strength that we need, that you could call it a supernatural strength then, that takes us beyond our normal everyday life and gives us, because I knew a year and a half ago, and I talked about this, that I wasn't going to have the strength to really carry on just from the strength that I was birthed in, that was birthed, given in my birth and in the natural world. I needed something more. And so I'm so happy today that I'm experiencing this, and I'm grateful for all of you to have this type of communication.
Yeah. So I think, like, of course we want information.
Right.
Of course we want to know. We want to hear what's working. We want to know. But I think even with that, like, we want the energy.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think even a lot of you guys, you tune in for information, but you really want the connection of the energy of other people who are on the same journey with you. So I would just say, look, we're raised, like, we're conditioned to have this deficiency of community in our bodies, and I would say let's challenge ourselves to get more connected.
Well said, Joe.
Because the alternative is in the ground, in the box, dirt in your face.
That's right.
You know, so when people say, "Oh, why you do it?" Well, the alternative is I'm in the ground, I'm in a box, I got dirt in my face.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
I was going to say, I was thinking when Diane was here, Dr. Ginsberg, she, I think you experienced this yourself, but, we had that lunch together, and Gene Wyden was there with us, and it was electric. We had this electric communication together, and then you came to the event, and you ignited everybody. I mean, it was fantastic, and they were open for that to happen, but this is, I think we have a tendency to discount how important that energy is that we share, how vital it is in this movement to create unlimited lifespans, in this fantastic, there's no greater cause on the planet, or never has been, to actually end aging and death. And when we ignite each other in this, it gives us this strength and resilience to get where we want to get.
And the like-mindedness shows up in very mundane ways. Here's how I met Diane. We're both in line, and Diane, you remember this, I hope. We're in line. It's been long days for everybody. There's long lines. We're in a line to check in. And I think I bumped into her. I don't know, maybe I knocked her suitcase over. I don't know. But it was one of those situations where, and I didn't know who she was. She didn't know who I was, but we were both like, just cool. She was like, "Oh, no problem." I'm like, "Oops, sorry." We kind of talked. And then I saw her go to the desk, and I heard her say Ginsberg. And I was moderating a panel with the Ginsberg. And I said, "Are you Dian Ginsberg?" So anyway, we met. But the point is, those are situations like, at the traffic light when somebody's been honking at you in an a-hole, and you pull up the light together, and they got to kind of act like they don't see you because they've just been a jerk the whole time. Anyway, when you have a like-minded vibe, when you're the same people, things, even when you're banging into each other in a waiting line or at a stoplight, and it all goes well. It is a connection.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So one of the subject I think is of interest that we haven't really seen in the questions, but I want to bring up is the whole topic that's coming out pretty strongly in science in general, and I want to apply it to longevity, is this whole question of male versus female, of gender-based research, gender identified research. And maybe Diane can speak to that, I don't know, or Aubrey, or I don't know, about are we seeing longevity pick up this trend, and how significant is this? Because it seems pretty damn significant, pretty important.
You're saying are women living longer than men? I'm sorry, I'm confused about the question.
No, I'm talking about in research, like this problem that's been uncovered, that so much of research about health efficacy is with men, was tested on men, and there hasn't been specific testing for men and women on a very broad scope.
Well, I think a lot of the problem, unfortunately, that you have is that money is in treating illness. there is more money in treating illness than there is in prevention. So a woman is more valuable to big pharma and companies, not on hormones and on antidepressants and then osteoporosis and then give her Alzheimer's meds. And then, so I think that, female longevity, part of the problem, again, goes back to the 2002 study. And to this day, when I talk to women about going on to hormones, they'll say to me, oh my God, it's going to give me breast cancer, which is completely disproven. So female longevity is a whole other conversation, I think, just because we're so far behind. Now it's important because Oprah cares about it. So when Oprah cares about it, now people care about it more. So I think that's hard because of that. But again, I think the hardest part of all of this is knowing the testing. Somebody in the comments wrote that Brian Johnson said that he didn't see any improvement with the plasma. Well, if you look at Brian Johnson, he's 45 years old. Look at the labs that he checked. He looked at his chemistry. He looked at his kidney function. He looked at his grip strength. If you look at my father's 80-year-old father's profile next to Brian Johnson, it's basically the same. There's nothing, the actual chemistry, CBC, thyroid, those things that he says are so good, it's the same as my 80-year-old dad. So the problem is under the hood, is proteomic better than methylation? Is, epigenetics, kind of like you were talking about the Yamanaka factors. I have a lot of issues about methylation and I don't know how accurate it is. So where I think you're looking at male or female longevity, you're testing when you're Brian's age, or even I'm 59, even you're testing then, or a testing at 50. How do you turn around and say, okay, what do I check to see that I'm having a bigger change in proteomics or a bigger change in something that I've got to do something so you're not pulling me back from being sick, but preventing me from getting there in the first place. And I think that space is empty. I think that testing space is just empty. It's definitely empty in clinical medicine. It's because clinical medicine, what do you do with a woman? You do a pap, you do a pelvic, you do a mammogram. By the time you have breast cancer, you've had it 8 years by the time it picks it up. When you go to your primary care doc, what do? They do a CBC, a chemistry, a urine, maybe a chest x-ray. So there's really no preventative testing that's even done. So maybe part of what your community can do, and what I think community can do, is bring to the medical community, right? People can bring to the medical community, hey, I don't want this basic stuff. What's out there? And then maybe you can, thermography, there's controversy about that, whoever wrote that. So yeah, the FDA is captive. I mean, there's a lot of issues there, but I do think community can bring maybe to the doc to get physicians more tuned into learning about what's real prevention. And then there'll be money in developing that testing. And I think you were hopefully seeing some of that coming in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I want to echo a lot of what Diane just said. I think that certainly with regard to the original question, things are somewhat looking up. There's definitely more money going into research on female reproductive longevity, for example, than there was even a couple of years ago. But I think the key thing that Diane mentioned that I want to really highlight and emphasize is that right now there is a huge bias in the system, just a financial bias against preventative medicine. And
huge.
Yeah, and so we have to ask ourselves, why is this the case? Why is it so persistent? And what can we do about it? Because at the end of the day, nearly everything that we want to do, whether it's with treatments that exist already or with treatments that we want to bring along soon, will be preventative. The idea is to apply it to people who are not yet sick, not yet severely impaired in terms of function. So the way I've thought about this is that fundamentally, it's not the fault of the FDA. It's not the fault of Big Pharma. It's the fault of the general public, who are inherently suspicious of medicine that that they feel might make them sick rather than make them healthy when they are already sick. When you're not yet sick, you just have to trust that something is safe and not going to do you harm. And people are very reluctant to do that. So this is why right now we only have really 2 major drug families that are preventative. That's ACE inhibitors and statins. And even they got there kind of by the back door, having originally been developed and approved as treatments. So, we have to find a way around this. I certainly believe that Oprah and her ilk can play a huge role in changing the mindset. But honestly, I've been trying. I've been very aware for decades now that this is the central problem, and I think it's important to understand that if we look at the medical industry and we say, well, they make their money out of sick people, they certainly do at the moment. But the reason they do at the moment is because that's the people who are willing to pay. Of course, it's complicated in different countries with different systems of reimbursement and so on. But the fact is, it all ultimately comes down to the fact that if the public were willing to pay for preventative medicine, the industry would be fine with it. They would totally follow the money. It's just the same expertise, the same technology, really. And so we shouldn't really blame the medical industry or the regulatory authorities. We should try to alter public opinion on it.
Yeah, I think there's already. I think there's already a lot of people who would agree with everything you said, and I think there's a lot of people who want preventive medicine. Like, that's why they go to naturopaths. That's why there's a lot of naturopaths out there who do very well because and it's out of pocket, right? And so there's a lot of people, I think, who want preventive medicine, but I don't know if we figured out a way to show up and leverage influence, both socially and politically. And I think we need to figure out ways, again, coming back to community, like we need to figure out platforms where we congregate and we show up and we create political equity that leaders see that there's value in giving us what we want and in shaping policy that aligns to what we want.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's right. I mean, perhaps there's a distinction here that I didn't quite make, which is between the kind of things that naturopaths provide or, supplement providers, things that already have a very established safety profile because millions of people around the world have, been exposed to them for many, many decades, versus new medicines that have just been developed and do not have that safety profile yet.
Sure. I would just say the naturopath, like a customer goes to a patient who goes to a naturopath has that kind of sort of more of that preventative attitude. But usually they've tried the other stuff, and they've seen how poorly designed that experience is. So they want a different experience.
Yeah, but the naturopath half the time, it's very difficult to talk to an MD about a naturopath because the bottom line is their training is subpar. They don't know that much. They give wrong information, and I got to clean up most of their messes. Most of them can. And then you have a naturopath versus a naturopathic doctor. And the naturopathic doctor, I think, is even worse because they think they know what they're doing. But the naturopath can't prescribe meds. So I get these people that show up with a boatload of pills that go, my naturopath just sold me $500 worth of supplements. So the answer is personal excellence. People don't want to give up gluten and dairy. People don't want to get sunshine every day. People don't want to take care of themselves. I see this every day. So if we made a commitment to ourselves to maximize our own personal excellence and then to rejoin in community, I think that would change the world.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. I like arguing with you. I think we should keep going.
Oh, were you arguing? I didn't know.
No, we weren't.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I'm just passionate about what I'm passionate about. I've been doing this a long time.
I think it's great. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a good debate, right? So,
yeah. Good. Well, you know what? This has been fantastic.
It's been great. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much.
I want to thank our panelists. Greta, are you say something?
I get a question because a couple of people in the thingy were saying, oh, what biomarkers, what? So is it possible for us, maybe Aubrey and Diane and I, to do a little cheat sheet to synopsize what we said? And is there a way to get that to people if anybody's interested in that?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Give us your cheat sheets if you wish, and we'll send it out with we'll send it out.
Yeah.
Send it out to everybody.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we love it. We love to do that.
Thank you for doing it. The more information we share, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you to Greta Blackburn, Aubrey De Grey, Dian Ginsberg. Great
Thank you so much for having us.
With us. Yeah, we could talk more and more. And remember to register. Hello. Remember to register. We got to echo. Remember to register for RAADfest here. Like I said, it's good for you to be there, and it's good for us if you register early, because we can use that. We can use those funds to build the event and to build our activities. And take care of your longevity.
That's right. Thank you to all the guests for being on. Very excited to see you at RAADfest. Be sure you sign up. Let's move together. Let's move forward. Let's ignite this world with new life. What do you say? I'm excited about it. Okay, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bless you and good night.